It's good to be the king. At least that's the way Mel Brooks saw it in a great line from one of his more unforgettable movies. However, if Mel had been able to play the CD-ROM release of Castles 2 Siege and Conquest from Interplay, he no doubt would have changed it to It's Good to Try to be the King. The game features a medieval motif. We begin by learning that the King of Brittany has just died, and you're one of the pretenders to his vacant throne. This certainly isn't unique. Games of this ilk would lead you to believe that the average life expectancy of monarchs in the Middle Ages was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 weeks. However, Castles 2 serves notice immediately that, because of the way it uses the CD-ROM format, this isn't just another Dead King game. The opening of Castles 2 is a very impressive mix of animation and sound that definitely attracts your attention. Once you've gotten past that and find your way to the main menu, you discover a pleasant surprise, a thorough game tutorial that includes 6 different categories that include game features and a narration pointing out hints and tips. This is something that any company producing CD games should take a look at, because it's an innovation that makes a great deal of sense. The opening menu also includes a section devoted to the castles you'll be building over the course of the game. But unless you're a serious historian or suffering from insomnia, you'll want to avoid this portion. The quality of the film clips describing the castles is marginal at best, and the audio accompanying the video clips is horrible. It's so choppy, it sounds as though the narrator has hiccups. A cynic would say this was included to fill up the space on the CD. Call me a cynic. Once you're into the game itself, you're vying with 4 other local lords, with the Pope looming as a very large presence. Since the Pope is the person who eventually decides whether or not you get a chance to sit on the vacant throne, it's very important to stay on his good side. It's also not a very easy task, since running the church is apparently a very expensive proposition. The Pope comes after you for money more often than an ex-wife seeking alimony. You can bargain with the pontiff, to a point. If you refuse him too often, you suddenly find that you've been excommunicated, which certainly won't help your cause if you ever get to the point where you wish to make a bid for the throne. You also must deal with a varied crew of characters who wander into your castle with tales of rumor and intrigue. Your 4 competitors are the usual collection of scheming medieval princes. Since you can't fight a war on 4 fronts and expect to get anywhere, your best bet is to remain on good terms with 2 or 3 of your opponents while you work to lay waste to the others. You'll also be hearing from them on a regular basis, and your response can range from bribing them to remain on good terms to literally killing the messenger. While beheading the emissary may make you feel better, it quickly leads to a sharp downturn in diplomatic relations. The amount of time you spend dealing with these messages from your opponents is one of the annoying parts of this game. Castles 2 features a limited set of black and white film clips that look as though they were lifted from every bad B-movie circa 1940 or so. These clips run whenever you're bargaining and become boring very quickly. You can speed up the process by clicking the OK button, but you can't get rid of them entirely. Within your own lands, it's important to take care of business. You're constantly performing 3 tasks in this game: gathering commodities, raising and leading your armies, and negotiating and spying on your opponents. Your capacity to perform these duties will increase as the game goes on, and you should remain as busy as you can. The best way to secure the home front is to build castles in your territories. If you've always believed that a man's home is his castle, you can design your own place from the moat up. If castle contracting isn't in your blood, you can choose from a list of designs of real castles. If you're deeply interested in this sort of thing, or if you're having trouble falling asleep, their history is covered in numbing detail. Once you're secure in your own territory, you can concentrate on those other bastards who think they would look better carrying a scepter than you. The battles work on a pretty basic level. If you have more firepower than your opponent, you win. This equation is skewed somewhat if the territory you're attacking has a huge castle. Also, as time goes on, you can build a ballista, what I fondly call a big crossbow, a catapult, and a siege tower. These will definitely improve your chances of victory. If you do well in the game by winning your battles, pleasing the peasants, and staying off the Pope's hit list, your score increases. Once you've hit 7,000 points, you can ask the Pope to make you king. If you can remain above that point level for 4 to 5 computer months, the Pope will grant your request and you'll win the game. However, keep in mind that asking to be king is going to attract the attention of other pretenders, and they're going to do their level best to wipe you entirely off the map. This game is easy to play and has some pretty amusing elements. While I did whine about the old film clips a little earlier, some of them are actually pretty funny. For instance, it's always disheartening to a king when he learns that one of his saboteurs failed on a mission because he was eaten by a bear. And the narrator's British delivery is the closest thing I've heard to an Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips commercial in a long time. Virtually all the commands are executed by pointing and clicking the mouse. And recognizing the fact that many of us have the patience of 5-year-olds, the designers allow you to speed up the game. The game begins on January 1st, 1312, and runs from that point at a relatively slow pace unless you hold down the right mouse button, which speeds up the game until you've completed a task or receive a message from an opponent. If you've always dreamed of being king, Castles 2 Siege and Conquest is a pretty good place to try for the throne. The game's planning elements are logical, and including the Pope as one of the players in the game is an interesting innovation. Most strategy games are us versus them, but having the Pontiff as a neutral party who isn't afraid to throw his weight around is a nice touch. And you're not in the 20th century where your foes help you out after kicking your ass. This is the 1300s, where life's a bitch and then you die.